We begin this afternoon with the much-awaited judgment about the Imo governorship seat and the verdict due today. A seven-man panel of the Supreme Court, headed by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Tanko Muhammad, will today deliver judgment on the application filed by Mr. Emeka Ihedioha over its January 14, 2020 verdict that sacked him as the governor of Imo State. Mr. Ihedioha and the People's Democratic Party, in their applications, claim that the judgment of the Apex Court, which installed Senator Hope Uzodinma as governor of Imo State, was obtained by fraud. Well, after listening to arguments from all the parties, the court stood down the matter to deliver judgment by 3 p.m. today. Well, let's now try to get a feel of what's happening on ground and more information. We have our correspondent there with us, Makwe Ogun-Yusuf. Hello, Makwe. What more can you tell us today?
Well, thank you, Millicent. We're right now in the premises of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, where we await with bated breath the judgment that will be delivered at 3 o'clock. As you did point out, Mr. Emeka Ihedioha is in court with his lawyers, asking that the Supreme Court review its judgment of January 14, which sacked him as governor of Imo State. Now, we understand that two applications were filed in court, but one of them was withdrawn. The ones that the lawyers of Mr. Ihedioha are relying on, they say that they allege that fraud was committed in the ruling of the Supreme Court. They're asking the Supreme Court to review that particular matter. According to them, Mr. Hope Uzodinma said that his votes were excluded from 388 polling units. But from what we understand, about 366 polling units was what was added for him. And they said that even by that addition, the total number that he has as votes was exceeded by over 120,000 accredited voters. So they are asking again that the Supreme Court review that judgment. However, the lawyers to Mr. Hope Uzodinma are saying that the Supreme Court has no jurisdiction to look into this judgment. It cannot sit in appeal over its own judgment. We wait till 3 o'clock to see today which way the judgment will go.
Perhaps another thing, Makwe Ogun-Yusuf, is really more about the atmosphere of that ruling today, because 3 o'clock is still some time away. What can you tell us about security and perhaps supporters of either parties now?
I don't know if you can see right behind me right now, but the premises of the Supreme Court are looking a bit empty. If you're on your way to the Supreme Court, just about before you enter, you'll see some amount of security there, perhaps in respect of the judgment that was expected to have been delivered this morning. But because the court has stood down to 3 o'clock today, lawyers have all gone, most of them have gone, supporters as well, perhaps to have lunch before they come back to eventually hear the judgment.
All right, we'd like to appreciate your time, Makwe Ogun-Yusuf there. We'll be talking to you much later, perhaps after 3 p.m.